This is Julia Sotas, and you're listening to A Different Reality. What else is possible beyond this reality that you haven't yet chosen? Hi, everybody, and welcome to Beyond This Reality podcast. I'm your host, Julia Sotas, and today we have a very, very, very special person in my life, and somebody who is from a very unique culture, a very unique place. She is a professor of law at her local university and a human rights lawyer, and also a certified facilitator of access consciousness. And there are many more stories I have to tell about her. But first, we have, without further ado, welcome Ana Abulfaraj. Yay!
Hi, Julia. Thank you for having me as a guest in your podcast. And thank you for the cute and nice introduction.
So I have a little thing going because she hosted me very last minute with about 3 weeks lead time. She hosted me in Saudi Arabia, in her home country, in her hometown. And I went and we had some amazing classes. But what happened is on the last day of class, the airport shut down due to coronavirus. And Anna was nice enough to allow me to stay in her family home while I was facilitating, but she also took me in for an entire month during the coronavirus because I couldn't leave the country. And we had the adventure of a lifetime. We had such a good time every day doing all kinds of things. It's like the days were so much fun and so wonderful, and we did so many cool things together and ran bars and created and facilitated and all kinds of things. And so after living together for a month and spending every moment together, she's become quite a special person to me.
To me too.
So you're newly a certified facilitator, and access consciousness is growing rapidly in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar. It's even beginning in Oman. Apparently there was even somebody in Yemen. There's a lot going on in the United Arab Emirates. It's amazing what's being created, and you're sort of at the center and the epitome of all that. And so I would just love to hear a little bit about what's going on with access consciousness in the Middle East and this really exciting time of growth.
Thank you for saying that. Yes, it started to change. And what I love about the changing is like our culture, the Islamic and the Middle Eastern culture is very solid, and it has lots of solidity. And it's very, from the point of view of the culture and everything, that it's very hard to be interesting point of view with all of that. But with the tool of access, the spread of it is like people, they started to see there's another reality. And it's not just the thing, it's like we were raised and we saw, and that was our culture. And access consciousness is for everyone from every place. It's not just for Western people, or it's like where people is like from color or race. It creates different life and different reality, and living beyond the reality from everyone in this place. And we're all united in one thing. It's like we're infinite being. And what is happening, like, what can I change? It's the same what you can change, Julia. It's not about the language, it's about everything and changing everything. And that's what I see here. And what is like, I was it's like when in Dane's being you changing the world, and you being a leader, and you just do it because it creates change with you, and you just do it. It's not about who's gonna follow you. And it's the same here. It's like I was doing it at the beginning. I didn't know that there are people they're doing it, and then it's like those other people are doing it. And it's what is nice, every one of us is just a leader. It's not, we're not looking for followers. Access, they didn't know that it's like there's access, like people who does access in this part of the earth or the globe.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just so different because, like, you know, the access consciousness it's a worldwide global phenomenon in like 200 countries in the world, and there's only like, I don't know, I think it's in 180 countries, and there's like 190 countries, so it's like everywhere, or there's 192 or 200 or something, and it's like it's everywhere. And you know, it was started in the West. It was started in California, or at least that's where the founder Gary Douglas lived when he started it, and um, and now it's moved to these places that I've never had anything like this before, and it's going beyond the past culture and the religion, and it's amazing for me to see people who are dressed in the Orthodox Islamic clothing coming to classes. I mean, I've never seen or experienced anything like that, and it's wonderful. Like, and people aren't necessarily letting go of their Islamic faith. It's like it's in addition to that, and people are taking whatever they want and using it to make their lives a better place, and it's just awesome. And I mean, Saudi Arabia is changing so much, especially in the last 2 years. I mean, you guys didn't have an entertainment, and I mean, you're the one who taught me all this. It's like you didn't have an entertainment industry. Now you have an entertainment industry. There are Saudi movies being made and funded, and there's movie theaters. Women are allowed to drive. It's a big joke between my husband Anthony, who is also good friends with Anna, and went to Saudi Arabia the week before I did. And he got home, I didn't, and lucky I didn't because it was fun. But it's this joke because Anna's, you know, you're a human rights lawyer, and you've lived around the world, and it's like you just learned to drive. You know what I mean? You just started, and we all joke about Anna's driving. But it's like incredible that that the world and that Saudi Arabia is changing so dynamically. And so it's cool because when I went there, it's like people are so hungry for change, and they're looking for a different reality, and their old stable ways of doing things are being broken apart and becoming greater.
And you remember, Julie, when I told you, it's like once someone contacted me from a very rural or a
Rural.
village,
Yeah,
rural
it's hard.
village in Saudi. She called me and she came for a bar session. I didn't know from where did she hears about it. She heard about it, and she came and she received the bar. We didn't talk, and she called me in a month, and she told me everything changed for her husband, her family, everything.
It's
So
incredible.
it's incredible. How did she know about it? How she came and she received it, and it changed everything about her. It's like, how is the bars changing in this world? Because I believe the bars change my country.
Yes. Yes. Well, and that's the thing. It's like access consciousness came to the country, and people started asking, what's it going to take for women to drive? I mean, you did processes with Dr. Dane about these things, and then, you know, right after it all changed. So it's like, how does change actually occur? Is it from hard work and effort and picketing and rebelling and war, or is it actually through request?
Yes. And as I told you, it's like I studied my law, and it's like I went to the States, so I want to have my rights and to be like the Western girls who have their rights, and it's like abandoning the family and the culture and everything. And I was in fights. I had this like I was in a fight with the men, with the culture, with everything. And I thought that was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And it didn't create any ease in my life till it's like I came to these tools that it told me I didn't need to be in the reaction of every situation that I was in. I have to be in action. And in action is like my culture. Everything is just interesting point of view. And to be in the question and to ask a question after a question. and it's not about to be in the fight, and the fight just ended. And I always say it's like the bird, the infinite being flies, don't stay in a war and fight for their bites.
Hey, that's a really good way of putting it. Wow. Yeah, exactly. And things are changing, can you talk a little bit about, I mean, I think it's really interesting. I know it's, for you, it's like not, or I think it's a huge deal. I mean, you were on TV to talk about access consciousness on the biggest television network on the Middle East. You were interviewed, and I watched the interview. I didn't understand it because it was in Arabic. And Anna has taught me about 15 Arabic words. Cake is keika. Cake is keika. So you guys can walk away with that. And thank you is shukram. But it's like you actually went on the biggest television network talking about access consciousness. That's quite an amazing step into the future.
Thank you. Yes. Yes, I've been as you said, in the TV, and I was represented as Saudi, and I wore like you saw me, it's like wearing the traditional wear, talking about these tools that it changed everything. And it's like, what is funny, I was in that show because I'm more than 30 and I didn't get married in this culture. So it's
we have a serious problem, folks, an unmarried over 30-year-old.
Serious problem. My house was like, I'm gonna commit to suicide because I didn't find the man yet. I'm not a mom.
I'm not a mom.
So how come it's like I'm more than 30 and I'm not married and I'm happy?
Right.
So it's like they wanted to know the secret of it's like not being happy, and how can I empower other people and other women to be happy if they reach 30 and they didn't get married. So it's like, and I was talking about it's like being in the question, and I found something called access consciousness, and it's how the board helped me. Helped me through all of that, and it's like how it's like happiness. It was, and the marriage was a utopian ideals, and how we can create out beyond that, and it's like, but it's like I'm trying to translate what I said. It's like it was
all in Arabic.
In Arabic. So yes. They asked me, it's like if the love is the base of everything, and I was walking through with them through it's like the acceptance and allowance, and it's like allowance is different than acceptance, and it's like in this it's like in this area, it's like everything, it has to be accepted through the religion and everything, and an allowance with everything, an interesting point of view, and how the marriage is interesting point of view too, and how it's like our fingers are not the same, we're different, and it's like whatever my mother chose, it's not the thing that I'm choosing.
Right.
I allow her to be her, and my generation, they're allowed to choose whatever they want.
Wow.
Yes,
it's amazing. And when Anthony, my husband, was there, he said that you took him through old Jeddah. So Jeddah is the coastal port of Saudi Arabia where Anna lives, and it's on the Red Sea. And you took him through Old Town Jeddah, and he said that when he was walking through Old Town, there were men who, there's some sort of body language where like you tap your heart, and he was like, there were men that were tapping their heart and saying, thank you for being here, and thank you for touring my country, because Saudi Arabia is a place that didn't have a tourist visa. I don't know if ever or yeah, ever. And so ever. So Saudi Arabia just got their first tourist visa so that tourists can come and see the country. Before that, you couldn't go to Saudi Arabia unless you had a very specific governmentally approved thing. Could you go to visit family? Like if you were born in America, could you, if you had cousins that were American citizens, could they go visit you in Saudi?
Yes, but such a complicated. It's like we have to the issuing visa called visitor visa, and it's like it's not easy to get issued.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
there was, but it's not that easy. It's like you
you would
have
go
to
see your
prove your
family.
relationship and
You have to prove it. So yeah,
yeah.
so this whole tourist visa is new, and it's a country that people couldn't come in and out of. And so it's like you would think that in Saudi Arabia that the older folks would be upset about the changes, but from what I've heard, most of them are very, very grateful for the changes and looking forward to it. And there's not a lot of backlash or resistance, which is just incredible. Incredible.
Yeah. And we were like pleased to have your family, your husband, and you like from the first access consciousness facilitator to visit the country. It's like there was a small window between issuing the visitor visa and the tourist visa and the corona. So
Yeah.
you came.
We got right in that window, and then I stayed past the window. I mean, when did the tourist visa start? 6 months ago? 3 months ago?
6 months ago. It's like, no, in January.
Wow.
So like that.
4 months.
Yes, 4 months.
So, and you got your driver's license in November?
In November,
Wow.
September.
September.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like they just issued the driving license for women to drive, not the men, because it was the culture more is like and the man. It's like all the rights goes to the men, and they didn't discover women till it's like 2018 or 2017.
Well,
They discovered
there was even a rule that if a woman wanted to leave the country, she had to have permission from her husband, her brother, or even her son. Like a 60-year-old woman of anybody of
yes.
any age, you actually had to have a signed permission from a man to leave the country. You couldn't just leave.
Yeah, and you see and it's just that changed after access consciousness as well. But it's like you see, it's like my childhood. It's like the man has to have the power of everything. Even it's like if you had your education, you have your money, your company, your everything. No, you can't be whatever you want till you have a proof from the man. So how much hate was toward men that they didn't know anything about it, and they weren't in the party who established all of that.
Right, it
So it's
wasn't
just
their fault, but they took the blame.
they take the blame. So everyone is walking, we hate them around us because whatever we do, we have to take the permission for you. I want to go out, I can't. Because if I don't have money to have a driver, to hire a driver, or my brother to drive me everywhere, I can't go out. So it's like the men. So all of that hate that we were raised toward. But it's like you see people, it's like all of that hate, it just dissipates when we're an allowance of that.
Yeah.
And we know it's just a distraction and plan.
It's just
And I want, yeah, and I want to say something. It's like when I started Access Consciousness, I started it alone. So the question was my back. Interesting point of view was my back. So whenever it's like I feel I want to quit everything and no one can hear me, and even though it's like, when you express your feelings in your language and then you can't experience, if you want to just scream, you scream in your language. It's like you want to put the hate. It's very hard to translate that in other languages.
fair.
So, so whenever anyone feels it's like, no, there's no hope of everything. There is nothing. No, these things works. Even if you're alone, even if you feel that's nothing, that's your back. The question is the back. When you question, you choose, the opportunities comes. It's like a choice. It changes everything. I'm saying that because it's not, I'm this CF and tarara. No, because it was my life. I used the number and the number worked.
Mm-hmm. So what are the numbers?
I always use the numbers. Okay,
Oh,
5, 9, and
to the audience, what are the numbers?
the one I love it. Okay, the 5, 9, 11 for everything. I used 5, 9, 11 to all of the men, all of the tackies, all of the regulation. We used 5, 9, 11 before the day we were a group of like BFs and CFs. We were running the bars, and then a day we chose, it's like, let's do 5, 9, 11, all of us, for the government and for for allowing us to travel without the guardianship of the man. Next day, I swear to God, what else is possible? Next day, they issued the law. So like, how does it get any better than this?
And that's amazing. I mean, then that is, to me, that in my life, that is how change works. I ask for something and it shows up, and that's it. And that's the magic of being you.
And thank you. And we didn't have any, it's like we did it without any expectation. We're just doing it as the fun of it. It's like, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's play with it. They say it's worked. Because when we was like, I was in a class and Danny was like, we were doing 5/9/11 to the Middle East, lots of things changed afterwards. And I didn't have any expectation of what we're doing. We're just playing with the numbers, just play with it. Okay, we're a lot, let's play with the energy. And we did it the next day. And it's like, even when we were doing the bars to change the driving license for the women, we wanted to drive. So we were going to the park and we were running the park and we're inviting the people around us, not invite them by word, it's like inviting the energy and tapping to their energy while we're running the bars. And that created so much change.
That's incredible. I mean, who even thinks of doing something like that? That's so brilliant.
Thank you. Yeah. No.
Wow.
This creates much change. So like the magic. And one of my first Bibles is like the magic being it. You're the magic being it.
Oh yeah, Gary and Dane's book called You Are Magic, Be It.
So that was one of my first Bibles.
One of your first Bibles. I love it.
Yeah, one of my first Bibles, or Quran.
Our religious so much fun, like learning about the Islamic faith. Like it's just, it stems, Christianity and Islam are very, very similar. People think they're not, but they have the same stories. They have the same Old Testament. God is Allah. I mean, it's very similar, but then it's like a lot of the practices are different, to wear the abaya, to pray 5 times a day, to have the prayer come over the loudspeaker at every mosque in town 5 times a day. That's really different for me. And, but it was just so interesting because it's, the state and the church are one. I mean, even it shocked me. On the airplane flying from Washington, D.C. to Saudi Arabia, to Jeddah, when we were taking off in Washington, D.C., there was a prayer that came over the TV screens after the safety. Huh? Never in my life have I seen anything like that. And it was like, protect us from the woes of travel, God, and this, Allah, and protect our families when we are gone, and it was like, whoa, that is a religion that is so deeply within the government, within the royalty, within the people. It's in every area. So it's treated really differently than religion is here, because you have the more of the choice to have the religion or not, whereas there you just are. You're born there, you're Islamic, you're Muslim.
Yes.
So
and you don't have
different
to be in a different religion.
You don't have
but you're saying
different religion.
You don't have the choice. So it's like you're supposed to be Muslim and you can't be nothing but Muslim.
Right. So and that's so different. Like, in a way, it's like, because the religion is a given, not like a chosen thing, it's different. It's almost like it creates this place where people are more hungry for change, because it's like, it's closer to the heart, and people don't, when you think you haven't had a choice, and then you have this big choice for consciousness and freedom and change, it's like it creates a more ferocious appetite. And I just so enjoyed facilitating there because of the hunger of the people and everything that you have been creating and working on in Jeddah and leading. So it was really fun and really different, and I'm so looking forward to the future of Saudi Arabia and having Dane. I told Dane recently, I can't wait for you to go to Saudi Arabia. And he's like, that's a good idea. So he's game to go. And it's just awesome, because it's like, we just have we have a different possibility here in one of the most cultures that has been hidden from the world and being seen as um, scary. I mean, I'm just, on TV, Arabs are portrayed as scary. But since Access has been in Saudi Arabia, Anna and I were watching 2 TV shows where the Arabs were the nice, kind, happy, funny creatures, which you never see on TV. It was
And
wonderful.
it's like, you're coming here and we started to see that. It's like, Julia, you're the change. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it
And
was
it's like,
really
even
cool.
with Access, before you come here, they started the Arabic, but there wasn't like um, people, they're noticing the change here. You're being here, you changed the land, like as if it's like the Arab, the Saudi was like, they started to be the sun. So you're outshining our shine here.
That's so awesome. I'm so glad. And I'm so glad that I got to be there for a month. I ran Anna's mom's bars 3 times. I ran she has 5 sisters. She's one of 5 sisters. I ran all 5 of the sisters' bars while I was there. And we ran a lot of the desertification process, which was really cool because basically the desertification process is taking anything that um, is a desert, which Saudi Arabia is, definitely Jeddah. Um, and Anna argues with me that there are places that are green and have snow sometimes.
My sister plant started to grow, which
Yeah,
was
as I was there in the house running these processes, her sister's orchid that she had brought from America that was dying started to grow again.
grow again.
It did. They were in the bedroom that I was staying, these 2 orchids, and they started to grow and generate themselves. But that's what happens when we use these processes and we're willing to have the level of magic. Because in order to have magic in your life, you have to be willing to be somebody who's willing to have magic in their life, which sounds redundant, but it's not. You have to be willing to be it in order for it to show up. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. It's too different, uncomfortable, weird. It's not going to be something that you're going to be willing to receive. So it's like, you can ask, universe, show me my brilliance with healing. Universe, show me my brilliance with leadership. Universe, show me my brilliance with needless. And it's like the universe will show you if you ask, and you can create this different world and be a part of this true excitement and change.
Thank you for saying that, Julia. And I wanted to mention something. It's like, after you came in Anthony and you stayed for a month, uh, whenever I look to my culture, I always looked at the eye of judgment, and then it's like, okay, with lots of interesting point of view. So like, I started to be not in resistance to it, so like more an interesting point of view of it. But I didn't see the qualities of it, and it's the things that I'm grateful for. And you're being here and Anthony and seeing those things in the old town, or it's like the things that I thought it's given. It started. I started to have a different kind of gratitude to the things,
Mm.
and from that, it's just being in so much ease after acknowledging the gratitude and know that the abundance I have here in my culture. Thank you for helping me or empowering me to acknowledge um, um, the things in my culture.
Oh,
And
yeah. I mean, Saudi Arabia is a wonderful place in so many ways. I mean, yeah, you don't have freedom of speech, but you're fucking taken care of. People aren't really worrying about money there. It's one of the richest countries in the world. And it's like there are things that are really really wonderful, but we go, oh, if there's no freedom of speech, then the whole country is a mess. It's a disaster. It's a horrible place. They don't have democracy. It's a horrible place. Is that really true? Or are people not actually willing to look at what is and not willing to see the greatness of the place and the greatness of the people? Because it's a wonderful fucking place. I mean, your family, oh my God, they're just some of the greatest people I've ever met. And there's 5 sisters, 2 brothers who are twins. And the sense of humor that your brothers have is just off the charts, so funny, and they have fun and they prank each other, and they're both married with kids, but they have fun and prank each other, and everybody hangs out together, and there's just a sense of joy and a sense of caring that most families don't have. And it's just a really cool place to be. And I know how much you doing Access has set the groundwork for your family to become that way.
Yeah, thank you for saying both. But yes,
Yeah.
but I was just, it's like when you were fighting a lot, and then it's like you don't acknowledge the thing that you were fighting, that it's not there anymore, and you're still fighting yourself. And you being here is like, I started to perceive that, okay, the space and the joy is here. So, and thank you for that space, and being that space is here. And what is funny is like my brothers, like they love this, like my brothers and my whole family, they liked Julia's being here in it's like in my oh, I forgot my English, sorry people. It's like they liked her company, and they're asking me, it's like, tell her that this, like, finally we changed the Western perception about the Arabs, and we're just people. It's like we love people and we're kind. They told, yeah.
And that's the thing. And I'm so glad we're doing this podcast, because it's like, you're just people. I mean, where did this even come from? But every culture needs an enemy, and so the Arabs are the enemy of a lot of people. But it's like you guys have fucking Orange Is the New Black on Netflix. Like, it's like the public perception that everybody's perfect and religious, and women can't show their shoulders and their arms and stuff like that. But it's like, then everybody's like, partying and having a great time. And in Saudi Arabia, you have to have an alcohol dealer. You don't just, there's no legal alcohol, so you have a dealer that gives you vodka. But people do that, and it's like there's this different, they're just like that, like just like us. Everybody, they're just great people. They're just the same, and it was just a different world. And I'm just so grateful that I got to experience that, and to be a part of the Access consciousness and the change that is sweeping through Saudi Arabia and the Middle East at large right now.
And thank you for being brave and come here, because whatever there's like, if I saw my country on TV, I'm not going to go to that country.
Yeah, my dad called me and begged me not to go. He begged me. And I don't blame him. He was just trying to protect his daughter, but it was like, that was not an acceptable reality to him. But it changed my life and made my world a better place, and I'm glad that I did. So.
And she just followed, like, she questioned, and she followed her knowing. And
well, I asked, if I choose to go, what will my life be like in 5 years? And it was light. And so I knew I might not get out because Corona, but we had a great time. So can you, we're about at the end of time here, but can you tell me a little bit about the classes that you have coming up and the work that you do?
Thank you. I'm gonna have disruptor implants, Arabic, in May 10th, and then I'm working with a great team with the foundation.
Oh yes, you are hosting Emily, Russell, and I for our online foundation. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then I'm gonna have my own foundation.
Awesome.
End of June.
End of June. Awesome. Awesome. Cool. And where is your foundation gonna be?
The date's not started. Like it's not there yet. But it's like I was thinking about mid of June, like 15th.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing this information with the world, because I'm so grateful for everything that's changing in Saudi Arabia, and for those of you listening, whatever you can contribute to that change, and the happiness that you be in the world is a contribution to it. And I'm grateful for each of you out there listening. And thank you so much, Anna, for being in my life and changing so much with me, and reading the money workbook with me every day, and everything that we get to create. So how does it get better than this? What else is possible? And thanks everybody listening, and until next time, bye-bye. Thanks for joining me on another episode of A Different Reality. It would be awesome if you could share this podcast with your friends and family. I'm always looking to spread the seeds of consciousness. And you can find me on my website at juliasotas.com. Until next time, what energy, space, consciousness, and choice can you be to create a reality totally beyond this reality with total ease?